Nerdrotic.com.
Thank you. Thank you. You beautiful fake audience out there. How are you? Welcome, everyone, to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler. I come to you from Nerdrotic.com. My voice is a little shot, but we're going to do this anyway because it's been so long since I've done a Nooner, a solo live stream. Don't think I'll be going 4 hours today, but there's a lot to talk about. And I don't know if I'm going to get to all of it. Of course, we need to talk about Jodie Whittaker quitting. Yes, I did a long live stream on that already, but as time has gone on, it looks that this is going to happen. She's gone. The BBC hasn't confirmed it yet, but I am told that is not that far away. Now, there's a lot of scuttlebutt on who's the next doctor, and I would like to introduce the argument that there might not be one, that there's a possibility they could just shelve the show. I know there's a 60th anniversary coming, but they could just shoot the 60th anniversary. They don't need to ramp up an entire new Doctor Who, especially with Chris Chibnall still being there. If he's there, like I've said in the past, doesn't matter if it was a bloke or a lady. This Doctor Who sucks. It's not like they presented Jodie Whittaker as a female doctor. I mean, that's what they called the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, a female, but she didn't really act like one. So you could have put a dude in there, and aside from a couple of comments, you wouldn't have known the difference, and it still would have sucked. I spent the entire week working on that Star Trek review. This is why I've pushed off my Picard review. I keep reminding, I decided to go through with this, and I spent 9 days watching Star Trek Discovery Season 3 again in 5 to 10 minute increments. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. Don't ever try that at home. Oh my God. And I didn't even get to a tenth of what was wrong with this season. But they're on Star Trek and Doctor Who are on parallel paths. They both want to continue making their garbage. You can't even call it woke. And I know what the Access Media is saying. There's spin articles out there saying Doctor Who isn't woke enough. That is a bunch of crap that we're going to talk about as well. But they are on parallel course of destruction. So it's just watching this play out, and it's CBS's money to burn. It's the BBC's and the British public's money to burn. And we can just chronicle its demise at this point. And there will be a point where you can't even reboot this thing. Not within 10 years, not a chance. We also, Chris Evans is apparently coming back as Captain America. And my first reaction was, I'm not that excited about it. He's not going to be in another movie. He'll be guesting in another Marvel project. They even say in the article it's going to be something like Tony Stark coming into Spider-Man Homecoming. So it's only to help the MCU. That's all it is. He's not really coming back. It might be flashbacks. Who knows? He might be guesting in Miss Marvel. But I guess the question I have for you is, are you guys excited at all about the MCU, or has it kind of run its course? For me, it has, but I might not reflect the opinions of the general public. And of course, there is Disney Star Wars and the Disney Star Wars dilemma and the apparent civil war. Whether it exists or not, I have no idea. I just know what I see and what I'm presented with. And we get a Mandalorian, and we get a couple of shows announced that are spinning off from The Mandalorian from Jon Favreau, and it certainly looks like they want to return to Star Wars roots of being a good product, and that's way back in the day. And then there's The Acolyte, and there's The High Republic, but The High Republic isn't live action TV. It's not films. It's a cross-publishing crossover. And I doubt it will be a success. The crossovers, I have a lot of experience with crossovers, having sold comics for 10 years in San Francisco and have collected comics. And I know, as somebody who is an avid collector and a completist, I hated crossovers because I had to get everything You had to find a checklist. There's never really a good checklist of everything, and it just becomes a giant pain in the ass. So we'll see if the High Republic sticks, but it's canon. It's Star Wars canon. That's the big problem. It's good to know the Jedis have a hairdresser, though. Got to have that hairdresser representation. So let's see who's here. Let's see who's here. We got Tobias. Oh, is it Tobias or Tobias? Gregory. We got Chris Persia, Eric O'Sullivan, the year of the long year. Yeah, that was last year. Harvey Weinstein is in the chat. Nihilist Shadow. What's up? Jarl GG, the writer. Edgar Plummer. Get over it. Legalize adulthood. Mick Bright. Phoenix Tangent. GL Customs. Timothy Cooper. Disease, I like that. Retro Stocks, and it's moving too fast for me now. Ray Cummins, Jennifer Cisco, Geek Tropology, Buckaroo, Baizu, and Cosmo James. Welcome everyone to the Nerdrotic Nooner. Late, it's noon somewhere. And yes, we did get some big Lord of the Rings news, but I'm gonna save that for a video. That should be out tomorrow morning. It's already done. So it just needs to pop out tomorrow morning. We have Friday Night Tights tomorrow with Yellow Flash. And I'm going to do an Exozone tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central on the Harvey Zone with Doomcock. So we'll get into the woo-woo. So that's why I got to preserve my voice a little bit. But I want to start with Jodie Whittaker quitting Doctor Who. And I saw an article that said that the BBC had failed Jodie Whittaker. And listen, in a way it did, but it failed her by bringing about a female doctor in the first place. It's never going to work. It's never going to work the way they want it to work. They wanted the female doctor to be as popular and work in the same way that John Pertwee did, Tom Baker did, David Tennant did, and it's just not going to work. It'd be the same thing as if you, I know there's a Batwoman, but if you took Batman and turned it into Batwoman, it's just not going to work. Now, they could have made a Romana show, and if they were truly... Am I buffering? Yeah, I see it buffering. God dang it. It says the stream health is fine. Let me see if I can fix this. Hang on. Give me just a mo. Oh, I see why. Hang on. Does it really say that many tabs? All right, hang on, folks. We will fix this right away. And it should be okay. We've got that working. All right. Sorry about that. Let me see if it's fixing that, because it says the stream is just fine. It says excellent health. So we'll see if it continues to buffer. Oh, the viewer can, now it's going back. We will see what the hell is going on. Yep. It just by me, by crappy internet. All right. Where was I? I'm going to continue. And hopefully it will stop buffering. But I have no idea if it will or not. And that must be my internet. So, where was I? Jodie Whittaker quitting Doctor Who. The BBC failing Jodie Whittaker. The BBC failed from the beginning by making the Doctor a female in the first place, when they could have introduced a Romana show just as easy, and you would have had a female actor regenerating into another female actor, and you would have had two separate shows with a male and a female that could have been equally as good, and you could have run with both for 5 or 10 seasons, made twice as much money. But instead, you decided to pluck the golden goose and replace the golden goose with a duck, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work, and it never will work. And this is what we said from the beginning. And the thing was, the way they presented it, they made people afraid to speak up and say something like this by calling you a sexist. For one, it's ridiculous to call somebody a sexist when we're talking about a fictional character, which you can do whatever you want to, but you end up destroying it. When a fictional character is male for over 50 years, you got to put a little more work into doing drastic changes other than just doing it and then going, okay, audience, like it or you're sexist. This is a failed experiment that we knew would fail, and we've been watching it fail for years, slowly. And we're starting to see other people slowly coming around to things we were saying in 2017, 2018, 2019. This shit is not going to work. It never will. Give the fans what they want. That's why, in a live stream a couple of weeks ago, I think it was Friday Night Tights, I said, this needs to be the year of the fan. God damn it. I wonder what's going on. I certainly hope this doesn't. This is a problem I had last month too, and it's our internet. Oh, now it's back again. So we'll see. If it keeps going, this will frustrate me and I'll have to shut down the stream, but we will continue. So the BBC failed Jodie in that extent, but Jodie failed from the beginning by not doing the work she needed to do for the role. She had the odds stacked against her. We understand that. Then don't take the role if you are not aware of that. She represented something pretty big, and she failed fabulously at this job. And she set it back years, and I don't think Doctor Who can survive this, because now you permanently have Jodie Whittaker in the picture for every book, for every comic, for every special, for every potential crossover, and you can go on and try as much as you want to pretend she doesn't exist. She exists. She is permanently in this universe. They shoehorned her in. They remade the entire show around her because they are sexist, because they couldn't do a female show from the ground up. They couldn't create a female show from the ground up. So what did they do? They changed the problematic Doctor Who, and they had no problem doing this because they were absolutely embarrassed by it. Now, they love the money. They're not embarrassed about the money that Doctor Who brings in, but they are most certainly embarrassed about its past. And the same goes for Star Trek. Why do you think they put Michael Burnham in a prequel? And why do you think they made her Spock's sister? To fix the problematic past. One of the most progressive shows in the history of time. Both of them were. Doctor Who and Star Trek were problematic to these people. I'll just say people. So they think they can roll in and do better. And there's also another factor to consider here. It's a major shortcut. It's creatively lazy to repurpose things, to make a prequel, and we're still seeing it be done to this very day. Instead of establishing your own series, which is difficult to do, but you can do it, you buy an intellectual property, and then what people want to do is imprint their own shit on this established intellectual property, and then they start complaining about canon. The canon is why people are here. It's why people care. And when you drastically change it, they're going to get pissed off. And then to attack them after that, well, this is a business model that has failed completely. So Star Wars, be it by accident or they just wanted to throw in a member berry and Disney didn't realize the reaction they would get. The return of Luke Skywalker changed everything. And it makes Doctor Who and Star Trek look that much worse. It really does. And, you know, season 3 of Star Trek Discovery was filmed a while ago. But my God, I don't know. I do not understand why CBS keeps giving this show money. I mean, again, it's their money to burn, and that's fine. Nobody's watching the show. Nobody talks about the show. The show never trends. At least Doctor Who on its holiday special, its festive special, it was trending for a little while on Twitter. That's because there was a new companion. It wasn't about the show itself. People have already completely forgotten the show. People have already completely forgotten Star Trek Discovery. Unfortunately, people are starting to forget Cobra Kai, which I only just started watching. I haven't had time for it. And it looks damn good, but then it's released all at once, and you guys know my arguments on that. So this demise is coming for another franchise, too. And that's going to be my video tomorrow, and that's Lord of the Rings. They're making the same mistakes as Star Trek made, Doctor Who made. You think people who want to actually make money would learn from this shit, but they don't. They refuse to. They refuse to listen to fans. So whatever franchise wants to decide to give the fans what they want, make it the year of the fan, the year of fan service, you are going to succeed beyond your wildest dreams. And any other franchise that wants to continue the Doctor Who Star Trek path, well, you're going to be ending, and especially if it's your biggest franchise, your company might have to be gobbled up by one of the bigger companies like Apple or Amazon or whatever. I was looking at Amazon's streaming. They had a little graph in the Lord of the Rings article with the announcement of the plot synopsis, and it showed how many TV shows and how many films Amazon Prime has. 14,000 movies and 2,200 TV shows. They are the clear winner. They don't have the most subscribers, but they will soon. Amazon Prime is the clear winner because they're a $1 trillion company. That will make you win every time, unless they completely destroy Lord of the Rings. So there was a lot of talk about Jodie's replacement. And, you know, it's something I really haven't thought of. And I'm wondering, seriously wondering, if they are considering canceling the show. I only know from the merchandise sales, the merchandise is in the toilet. And without cons and without a lot of retail stores being open, and a lot of, and comic shops were the last real shops that sold Doctor Who stuff, outside of Barnes and Noble, which really hit, well, I think they've reduced their Doctor Who retail to nothing now. The only thing you have other than that is your license, and the value of your license is all based on David Tennant. And each time you roll out a Doctor Who Jodie Whittaker episode, you end up killing your franchise. I'll say the same thing about Doctor Who as I say about Star Trek. I say, you know, the worst thing anybody or anything can do to Star Trek is to have Alex Kurtzman make more of it. And the same goes for Chibnall and Doctor Who. So now we're just fighting this stupid battle for public perception. The BBC absolutely refuses to acknowledge that there's anything wrong with this show when their house is completely on fire. And it's a mockery to watch this at this point. They're still releasing articles like people are actually interested in their show. They're not. I would say a good number of people watch this show to criticize it. All right. I don't know what's going on with this connection. Hang on. I'm looking at my... Yep. It seems to be okay now. Well, hang in there. Hey, Gary, have you seen the latest video by Midnight's Edge? Looks like Discovery is very likely canceled. Let's hope that's the case. Star Nerd for £5. There was a tweet yesterday from Michelle Paradise saying that Star Trek season 4 went into production. So I don't know what to believe there. She either, So that was shared in a group chat on Twitter yesterday. I don't know if I think the tweet came from yesterday. I was told that they're filming 4 and 5 back to back. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised because it's horrible. And there's no Hook. There's no Captain Pike. There's no Lorca. They've sent off a couple of characters. They got rid of Yum Yum and they got rid of Philippa Georgiou. And you're left with your core elements of Michael Burnham, a cucked Saru, Tilly, and the rest of the crew that looks like, they just walked out of a Colgate commercial, crying and hugging for 9 out of 13 episodes. The cry count is 9 episodes out of 13 of crying, 4 episodes of multiple crying. The person who cried the most was Michael Burnham. The person who cried the second most was Sylvia Tilly. And I didn't even get into like what they ripped off from previous Star Trek. So I'm going to tell you to go to a channel after you watch this live stream. Go to Major Grin. Major Grin has done a great job documenting all of the homage that I will call theft, in my opinion, that Alex Kurtzman and Michelle Paradise have done with all of their Star Trek Discovery Season 3. Jestero of Roanoke, welcome to the Gelogia level. I appreciate it. Why is my phone keep going off? Hang on. Oh, that's not my phone. It's something else. Justine Ireland's comments about her High Republic books are pitiful. Instead of being independent of self-reliant, she's going to depend on Amazon or Starbucks to bail her out if the books don't sell, says Phoenix Tangent for $10. Yeah, she pulled a Kelly Sue DeConnick. She said, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my books. Happily, I will not buy her books. She said she's inspired by anger and rage, and she wants to write Star Wars. I have always of the belief that you want to take on something like Star Wars because you love it, or it's a great opportunity to learn about a franchise you maybe don't know much about, and you can find out that you could love it too. Passion should always be behind wanting to do anything creative, including stuff that's angry. Believe it or not, behind Punk Worked wasn't because it was just angry. It wasn't just angry. There was passion behind that. And some bands could do it better than others. Welcome to the Gandalf level, Tobias Gregory. I appreciate it. Trena is pronounced like Trend Guthridge for $2. Scarf's done. I send it to the P.O. box on the site. Yes, on the website. And then I will get you money. Gary, when are you building your alt tech operations? I want to watch you and the gang on not YouTube. Davisar for $5. That's a good question. I'm not really happy with big tech right now. But here's the problem. This is my job. I love my job. It doesn't feel like a job. I put in massive amounts of hours of work that I find a complete joy. I am living my best life. I am very happy with what I do, and I would be very happy to take it to other places, but those other places wouldn't really help the channel stay on the air. Now, I'm willing to sacrifice some, sure, but I have to be able to garner an income somehow, be it sponsor or something I've never considered before. But you can watch me or listen. Damn it, it's doing again. Man, fuck. My first live stream back in forever, and I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties. This sucks. So you can go to nerdrotic.com and you can listen, and that won't give YouTube a penny. But here's my philosophy on that. As pissed as I am at Amazon and big tech right now, and what Twitter did was unconscionable. Whether you like the Orange Man or not, he has a right to speak, and that is setting a dangerous precedent that we can't take back now. The precedent is set. I am all for free speech and free expression, whether I agree with the person or not. And big tech has overstepped, And now they're paying the price. And, well, I'm going to have to think of something. But right now I'm in the middle of a move. But that plan B was supposed to be having a shop. But we need to be open to do that as well. But I'm working on it. I'm on Minds now. So I'm going to start posting more on Minds until they take Minds down. Yeah, Parlor got taken away, which sucks. And yeah, it's turning into a nightmare scenario, but I am not here to black pill. Take that black pill, turn it into a suppository. What we need to do is stand up to this stuff. And what I've said in the past is we need to remain here to do it. Now we need to be smart, and we have to be, and there has to be a lot of us. That's why I'm saying come to YouTube as a hobby, flood this platform with common sense. Flood it with common sense, because if they pluck one of us, there'll be somebody there to take our place. We can't cut and run all the time. What did the SJWs do to Marvel? What did they do to DC? What did they do to Disney Star Wars? Infiltrated. They went to the inside and took it over from the inside. That's what we need to do. We need to do the same damn thing. And we'll see if it's possible. But constantly cutting and running to alt tech, and what's going to stop that? And that doesn't mean you don't try it. Okay. I absolutely try alt tech by all means. Keep trying alt tech, because maybe one will catch on that won't sell out or bend the knee or get banned. Absolutely. But while that is happening, and until that happens, we need to be here, and we need to be heard. And we're not going to be heard if no one can hear us. Polaris sucks for 2 Canadian pesos. Can't watch live today, but hi. How you doing? It's going to be a short one. I'm having all kinds of technical problems. I just wanted to do a little nooner live stream, but damn it. Yeah, this one has been filled with problems. I still miss my mom since she passed away, but sometimes I'm glad she's not here to see that they have ruined some of her favorite franchises. Says Amaquaria. Hopefully I got that right. Thank you for the $5. Yeah. I'd rather have my pops around, but I'm glad he's not around to see what's going on with his country right now. All we can do is learn from it now. And Star Wars is the only franchise that has the resources to turn things around. CBS does not. Now Star Trek can turn around if it gets sold. That's a possibility. And it'll be pretty easy to erase the whole Michael Burnham era. And I actually think out of all the franchises, that'll be the one thing that gets erased. It will be the Michael Burnham Star Trek. Because you can't say, well, you're erasing the one Star Trek with the black female lead. Star Trek's always been progressive. You can't accuse Star Trek of being anything other than being progressive. So with Doctor Who, they're not going to erase the Jodie Whittaker run, because they're not going to erase the first female Doctor. And I know there's rumors out there that that Disney Star Wars is already starting to erase the canon. And I will believe it when I see it. I hope so. I certainly hope so. But I don't think Disney Star Wars has to do anything right now, and I don't think they're doing anything right now. I think it's they're just going to introduce their Mandalorian MCU. They're going to fight Thrawn at the end, and they don't need to do anything. And that should probably that'll bring in new Star Wars fans. And I'm thinking they're hoping they can buy enough time that maybe time will be kinder to the Disney trilogy. Now they're wrong. They're dead wrong. They're absolutely dead wrong. Mitch Thibodeau for 2 Canadian pesos. Thank you for the super sticker. But when it comes to Disney Star Wars, no, I don't think they're going to erase anything yet. I don't. I hope my friend Doomcock is getting good information, and I hope he is correct. That is my desire. I will toast a cup of coffee to Doomcock and to the Star Wars fandom if they erase the Disney trilogy. That would be a major victory. But I think the fandom's already had one. It's what we do with this victory. The fandom showed that they could unite in joy, and now you have people out there trying to take away your joy. They are literally trying to take away your happy moment for Luke coming back. Now, with a lot of you, I think most of you understand that it was just a moment. Things are not fixed with Disney Star Wars, but I think a lot of people, they are. I think that they are absolutely fixed. I am not one of those people. I'm nowhere near being close to wanting to invest anything other than covering it because I cover pop culture. But I'm not emotionally invested in Star Wars. When I watch a Star Wars product, I get the same feeling when I see a commercial. It's no different. It's just something there as visual stimuli. It's not like for me when I'm watching, Lord of the Rings for the millionth time and watching Sam carry Frodo up Mount Doom, and I still get just, whoa, or when Aragorn says for Frodo, it's, oh, yes, or when Gandalf describes death to Pippin, one of the great scene. That stuff moves me still. Star Wars does not. Star Wars does not. Or, I mean, there's a 1,000 moments I could bring up from Doctor Who that do the same thing for me too. Still, James Zabersky, thank you for the $2.99 Australian. I appreciate it. And the thumbs up. Elizabeth Goats for $5 says, "Hail Gary, today's my birthday. Glad I could catch the show live while I paint. Thanks for all you do. Sad Doctor Who might be coming to an end." Yes. So Az did a video on Star Trek Discovery, and it was just speculation on his part, but I think it was good speculation that it might possibly be that I think they might have stopped filming and but then, of course, I talked about the Michelle Paradise tweet coming out. I have no information on this. I do have a insider at somewhere in and around Doctor Who, but not specifically at the BBC. And we've been talking a lot lately. And while I do have a rumor that I could run with, it's pretty big. I don't know if I'm going to run with it, though. I'm allowed to, but I don't know if I'm just thinking about it because I'll tell you in a second. But I'm starting to think that no decision has been made yet. And this is just my speculation that they're waiting to see. They're going to buy themselves a lot of time. They don't have to do anything right now. We're going to see how Series 13 pans out, and then we'll find out if we even get a season 14 or 15. Now, they could announce it between now and then, but they haven't. Now, there's been a lot of news out there that there has been that they have commissioned a season 14 and 15 of Doctor Who. That is not true. They have not commissioned a season 14 and 15. It's on the table. It's a possibility. It could be from that sweet HBO Max money, but HBO Max is not going to be a great destination for Doctor Who. Doctor Who left Netflix in the UK on January 1st. So Doctor Who's off Netflix. And it's on HBO Max, which is just another average streaming service. It's nothing great. It's no better or worse than CBS All Access. It's got some stuff, but it's going to be buried on there. Doctor Who is dead. It's dead. The only people hanging on are the people like me who just freaking love the show to death. But it's not bringing in any new fans, and it hasn't for a long, long time. And the BBC needs to think long and hard if they want to keep spending money on this. You could tell they're putting less money into it. It's got one less episode. Out of the 8 episodes we're going to get, one of them's a holiday special. It'll again be on New Year's Day because they lost the Christmas slot. They're bringing back the frickin' Weeping Angels. That's not all they're bringing back, by the way. They're bringing back a lot of villains that they have brought up, but that's not all they're bringing back. Trust me on that one. That'll be your hint. They're going to try to swing for the fences again, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So I think it's done. I think it's just, we're going to wait it out, be a couple years. And I don't think they're going to officially say anything. I think they'll use words like, it's taking a break. It's on hiatus. We might delay it for another year. And they're just going to kick the can down the road. And they can, I think they will do a 60th anniversary special. I think we will get that. I can't stand Chris Evans in real life. And the announcement that he's coming back as Cap seems like a lukewarm comeback. In the end, it is still going to suck, says Nathaniel Larson for $5. Yeah, as far as Cap is concerned, Chris Evans has been worse than Brie Larson. Let's be real about this. I have been critical, not lately. I haven't really brought up Brie Larson other than to clown her a little bit on her YouTube channel, but let's be real. Brie Larson has been pretty harmless lately. Now, she's still a terrible Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's not a very good character to begin with, but if you would cast somebody like Katie Sackhoff, like a woman instead of a little girl, you would have had a better chance of making her successful. Marvel does not have a Wonder Woman. Marvel is embarrassed that they don't have a Wonder Woman, and they never will. They have lost that opportunity. Marvel has not been able to create a new character for years, for decades. That's a standout character. Deadpool is their newest character. He's just another X-Men. He's kind of a gag. Then you got to go back to like Elektra. Then you got to go back to Wolverine. But most of their characters were created in the 60s and 70s. And they haven't really done anything since, other than X-Men. But they don't have anything near Spider-Man or, but they were able to elevate Iron Man and Captain America. And what did they do? They killed them off like a bunch of fucking idiots. You recast these characters like James Bond. You don't retire Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr. He's not bigger than the character, just like you don't retire the Joker with Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson or Joaquin Phoenix. You recast. And they eventually will. Because they're going to try to bring in these all new, all different crap characters that failed in the comics, and they're going to fail in here. But when it comes to Chris Evans, he has been much, much worse than Brie Larson. So I think it's high time we start being as critical of him as we are of her. And I'm starting today. I don't care about Chris Evans' Captain America anymore. Whatever capital he had with the Great Winter Soldier and his performance has been completely burned up. Now, it didn't help that they betrayed everything about the character in Endgame. Captain America would never do what he did at the end of Endgame. Never. But what this guy has said and done, Evans, over the last few months, which he has every right to say, and I have every right to be completely turned off by it. And this is the risk you run for getting all those sweet, sweet likes. You know, attention an actor doesn't need. Does Chris Evans not get enough attention? I mean, he has people doting on him all the time. He's one of the biggest MCU characters. He has paparazzi following him around. People hang on his every word. Does he really need to start waxing or start whinging about politics? I don't care what somebody who pretends for a living thinks about politics in the world. Chris Evans' world is not anything like the way you and I live. He's completely detached from that. It's very easy to shame people for, I don't know, not wanting to wear a mask or wanting to go to work when you are comfortable for the rest of your life. And this has been allowed to go on. And that is despicable. Chris Evans doesn't have to worry about the shit you and I have to worry about. So, yeah, he's been worse than Brie Larson. So I don't give a shit about Captain America coming back. I could care less. My hope was they recast the role. Send him into retirement. He was complaining about having to stay in shape anyway. So why is he coming back? Does he need the work? Does Marvel need him? Probably. Why haven't we seen a second of the Eternals? trying to think how I pronounce this name. Aquaria. Thank you for the $5. You're number one too. So yeah, don't give a shit about Chris Evans coming back as Captain Marvel. That does Captain Marvel. He's Captain Marvel. That's what I almost put on the thumbnail. I didn't have time, but I was going to put Brie Larson's face on his body because that's what he is. But much, much worse. Much, much worse. Brie Larson said some stupid shit 2 years ago. Has she really said anything stupid since? I mean, aside from the garden variety average, Brie Larson's she's an immature little girl. Chris Evans is a grown man who's very happy alienating half of his audience. And I guess the question is, do we want to continue giving money to people who hate us? Hate us. And I mean us, fans. Remember, if you ask somebody just not to talk about politics, you're considered a Yahtzee these days. Roger Haynes for 5 Canadian pesos. Hey, Gary, thought about what you said last week on Friday Night Tights. Maybe this walk away from SJW's thing just won't cut it anymore. How then do we disarm them? Well, we have been trying to disarm them with facts, which is pretty easy to do. But facts don't work on SJWs because they are members of a cult. So you could present all the facts you want, and it's not going to change their mind. It's fundamentalism times 1,000 with SJWs. So you depower them. That's the one thing we have to do is depower them, outnumber them. And if you want to reach some of them, I think it's getting the hearts and minds of the normies. There's some SJWs you just can't reach and you just don't bother. But I like what Carrie Smith said when she was on Friday Night Tights about 2 months ago on an emotional level. That's something they still understand. Now, they don't understand emotions. They only know rage and envy and jealousy. But the only way to defeat them and disarm them is to depower them. And they still have a lot of power with entertainment and with the legacy mainstream media. So we need to outnumber them. And we also need more people in Hollywood to speak up. Because basically, I was talking to somebody on my member stream today, and he said, hey, most actors are not like Chris Evans. They're not. But Chris Evans represents Hollywood. Reality is perception, whether you like it or not. People see Chris Evans spurg out. People see Patton Oswalt. That's what they think Hollywood is. Hollywood needs to convince us it's not like that. It's more like Gina Carano. But we see Pedro Pascal. I think just there's so many that feel so comfortable attacking citizens, paying customers. And that combined with there being so many consumers out there who are willing just to eat up anything. And that's what affects our art. That's what our affects of love of things. I was having a private conversation with somebody from a podcast, we'll say yesterday. Now this podcast does not do what I do, which is I can speak freely. This is not how this podcast is structured, and I don't judge the person. He's actually a very good person. But in that conversation, I said, listen, for the longest time, people didn't want to speak up about Doctor Who because they were afraid to look bad. They were afraid to piss off the BBC. Well, I mean, that helped bring us more Doctor Who. If enough of us had spoken up 2 years ago, they would have put the kibosh on it, but it didn't. They had the Access Media backing this up. They had other actors backing it up, large portions of the fandom who secretly hated the show and didn't want to admit it because they were afraid to be called sexist, saying they liked the show and they weren't being honest. By the way, the audience could figure that out. The audience is smarter than us. And that's what brought us more Doctor Who. So the only way to depower is to defund. To defund. I have done that. I don't give Doctor Who any money at all. I still get stuff and I buy it from other people. I've also done one more, which is very inconvenient. I'm not buying well, I can't say everything because some stuff I have to buy on Amazon but most of my purchases will not be on Amazon anymore. I'm done giving Amazon money. So I'm going to go to a store or I'll live without it. But Amazon gets you with that convenience, and that convenience is our cage. Andre Fernandez for 50 Argentinian dollars. Talking about Lucasfilm, don't you think they agree with KK to make their shows and she would let the Favreauverse happen? Here's what I think with KK. Oh my God. Thank you, Mark Lazert. Don't you love trolls? Okay, so as I was saying, we'll just do that for now. As I was saying, Kathleen Kennedy is in charge of Lucasfilm. But is she just a figurehead? Is she just a figurehead? Is she calling all the shots? I don't think she's an easy woman to get rid of. I don't think she's going anywhere. I think she's got Bob Iger's balls in her desk drawer, but I also don't think she's calling the shots for certain Star Wars shows. I think Jon Favreau has absolute creative freedom as far as the Star Trek or Star Wars canon is concerned. Dock 2 nerd points for me calling it Star Trek. I think Jon Favreau is the true power because he is successful. And this is reflective of what happened with the MCU in the early days, because Ike Perlmutter was in charge of Marvel, but Kevin Feige and his team that included Jon Favreau was making a lot of money for a lot of people. And then that continued at Disney. And then Kevin Feige eventually became in charge of Marvel. He was simply a producer. He was just a producer, and he depowered a board member. So that shit can happen. Kathleen Kennedy, though, is anointed by Spielberg and George Lucas. So that's a powerful thing that I don't think you can just get rid of. That being said, if The Mandalorian continues to be successful and if Jon Favreau stays at Lucasfilm, I think they're going to let him do what he wants because he's successful. He's an outsider. He's not attacking fans. Nobody connected to him is attacking fans. But it remains to be seen. I don't know. I thought her contract ended this month. I don't think she's going. And I think people have brought up that it was Kathleen Kennedy who brought in Jon Favreau. Sure. Yes. And Ike Perlmutter brought in Kevin Feige and worked with Kevin Feige back in the day with Avi Arad. Just because you bring somebody in doesn't mean they can't steal your power. And success is the easiest way to steal somebody's power in Hollywood. So, I mean, there's a couple things I know that I can't say because I was told in confidence. My phone keeps just bugging. It's driving me nuts. Sorry. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Phone was going nuts. So, I don't think we're going to see any drastic change. So any rumor you hear, and that's why like Mike Zero, it was the happiest human being alive when Luke Skywalker came back because he can run with rumors now for the next 5 years. 5 years, because we're not going to know for 5 years. We're not going to know if Kathleen Kennedy really had any power for 5 years. We're not going to know if the Disney trilogy is going to be erased for 5 years. And right now, the only thing we're going to know is the next season of The Mandalorian, which is 2 years away. Boba Fett is going to be its own little enclosed story. It might move the Mandalorian cinematic universe, whatever the hell we're going to call it, the Star Wars streaming universe, the SSU, whatever it is. We're going to see that the stories are going to progress just like they do in The Mandalorian, very slowly, because Disney doesn't need to do anything drastic right now. They have gained momentum, something they didn't have a few months ago. So why fuck it up? Why say anything definitive? Now, hey, it would make you and I fucking happy as hell. If Kathleen Kennedy got fired and they erased the Disney trilogy, man, it would be a party. It would be a party. But unfortunately, we're not going to know. So we're going to get a lot of speculation. Hey, somebody like Star Wars Theory, he's good to go. He was never involved in this stuff anyway, but now you have this whole new world you can theorize about that isn't the High Republic, because that was looking like what Star Wars was going to be. Now, the High Republic is the snowflake and safe space of Star Wars. Are they just going to compartmentalize the SJW stuff? Yeah, it ain't going away. Like Pablo Hidalgo didn't get fired, but I do think he might have had his balls snipped. I think he had his balls snipped. He went against the wrong guy. And that's why I think he put up a tweet saying he was retired. I think he was retired from shit posting. Who knows? We'll see. My challenge to Lucasfilm is respect the fans for 365 days in a row. Do not engage negatively with the fan for 300. Just try it for 1 year. See if you like it. I don't care how big of a dick this fan is. And yes, some of us at times can be major dicks. We can at actors and say pretty fucking horrible things. I personally do not do that. I at companies once in a while, but I do not go after actors. I do not shit post to them. If you want to do that, that's fine, but that's not what I do. But even if somebody does, you work at fucking Lucasfilm. You get to pretend for a living. Act like you're a little grateful. Act like you're enjoying your life. Put up a tweet like Katie Sackhoff today. I don't know what she got tweeted at, but she just said, maybe I scare you because I'm living my best life. I don't know, whatever it was. She owned the guy or girl, deleted a tweet, something like that. Do what Gina does. Don't do what Mark Hamill, Chris Evans, this Ireland woman, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Chuck Wendig, freaking Mark Wade. I can go on and on. All current or former Disney employees, Disney Marvel employees, Disney Star Wars employees. There is a culture problem at Disney. And whether they work it out or not, I care not. I honestly care not. I mostly cover other things now. I'm way more interested in the Lord of the Rings show. We got a synopsis that gives us a clear direction what this show is going in. And while I'll read it to you a little bit. Let's see if I can pull it up. Sorry, I haven't pulled up any articles, but the internet has been so fracking wonky. Let's go over here. There we go. So the synopsis says, I think you guys can see that, right? Yep. Okay. Amazon Studios' forthcoming series brings to screens for the very first time the heroic legends of the fabled Second Age of Middle-earth's history. This epic drama is set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and will take viewers back to an era in which great powers were forged, kingdoms rose to glory and fell to ruin, unlikely heroes were tested, hope hung by the finest of threads, and the greatest villain that ever flowed from Tolkien's pen threatened to cover all the world in darkness. Beginning in a time of relative peace, the series follows an ensemble cast of characters, both familiar and new, as they confront the long-feared reemergence of evil to Middle-earth, from the darkest depths of the Misty Mountains to the majestic forests of the elf capital of Lindon, to the breathtaking island kingdom of Numenor. To the furthest reaches of the map, these kingdoms and characters will carve out legacies that live on long after they are gone. Sounds like Game of Thrones, doesn't it? From the furthest reaches to the map, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings are on-the-road journey stories with the MacGuffin. That's what they are. And they're about companionship and hope and good versus evil. No real shades of gray. Evil is evil. Now, evil didn't start out evil, but we really don't see that. And it's got the background of this freaking fully filled out world. But what Amazon has here is thousands of years of a blank canvas to play with. Amazon. And who's playing with this canvas? J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. Two writers no one has ever heard of who have only written a shitty Star Trek movie that had Captain Kirk riding a motorcycle to a Beastie Boys song at the end. So what are we going to get? Gimli riding an ATV to Daft Punk? Is that what we're going to fucking get in Lord of the Rings? So I'm concerned. No, this isn't going to be a journey or on the road. This is going to be different locales, different characters, all converging on themselves, which means they're going to have to fill a lot of time and a lot of story, which means we're going to have a lot of politicking, relationship stuff, drama, a lot of sitting around, elves sitting around at tables, scheming and talking. Does this sound like Lord of the Rings? Oh, and you best be ready for some LGBTQ plus representation in Tolkien. So the last great gatekeeper, Christopher Tolkien, passed last year. May he rest in peace. And now the Tolkien estate is his heirs. We know nothing about them. Nothing. So the fact that the Tolkien estate is protecting the show, I'm not feeling that confident about it now. And all that sweet, sweet Bezos money is going to, I think, turn this into Game of Thrones. I'm hoping for the best, expecting the worst. But expect possible nudity, politicking, and more representation. Now, I don't care if it's really the diversity aspect of it. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the baggage that comes with that word when you describe a show, which is intersectional feminism and wokeness, which is antithetical to anything Tolkien wrote ever. And my evidence that I will present is Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel Comics, DC Comics. They have all been infiltrated by this shit. How is it possibly going to be any different for fucking Lord of the Rings? It's a virtual guarantee that they're going to fuck this show up. And if they don't, I'll be surprised and happy. And I'll be very happy to review. I want this to be the best show in the world, but it's not going to be. They said they're going to be in the Misty Mountains, so looks like we're going to see Khazad-dûm. We're going to see Moria in its prime. Fucking awesome. We're going to possibly see the origin of the Nazgul, which is, in my mind, I have it great. And it sounds cool, but then I really think about it is I don't want to know their origin. I don't ever want to know their origin. I like the mystery of it. It's a fate worse than death. Being a slave to the will of Sauron. Not all the Nazgul were evil. They were kings of men. Some of them were good. Some of them fought Sauron and lost, and their punishment was to be a Nazgul. Think how horrible that is. So you're still in this body, and you hate Sauron, but you have to do everything he wants you to do. It's fucking awful. Then we got Lindon. I'll be honest with you. I know very little about the elf capital of Lindon. I know it was deluged when Numenor fell. Numenor is the Atlantis of Middle Earth. It's where Aragorn's lineage comes from, is the Dunedain, which is an elvish word. And they live longer, and they're the men of the West. That's the Rangers, were what was left of what came from Numenor. Numenor fell because of Sauron. He corrupted some of the kings and some of the people of Numenor, so it had to be destroyed. It will be interesting seeing the rise of Sauron. We're going to see the Elven Smiths of Eregion forge the 19 rings of power. And, of course, we had 9 go to men, 7 go to the dwarves, and 3 went to the elves, and 1 went to Sauron. We're going to see Sauron the Deceiver. And if they do the pre-Numenor stuff, I'm pretty sure he was a shapeshifter up until Numenor fell, and then he lost his ability to shapeshift. So sometimes I get first age and second age mixed up because I'm not a fucking scholar, but I know that Sauron could change into a vampire. That would be some cool shit. We'll see Balrogs. But I just don't think it's going to work. I don't care how much money you throw at this. This looks like I don't want Hollywood making anything right now. Hollywood needs to come correct before they take on something like this. We were just talking about Star Wars. Star Wars was the easiest money you could have possibly made. All they had to do was take Luke and Leia and Han and Chewbacca and put them on screen together. I would say for 5 minutes, but I would have liked to have seen 2 hours while you introduce new characters, just like they did in Cobra Kai, just like they did in Ash versus Evil Dead. And you would have made $4 billion instead of $2 billion. And then your next movie would have made $3 to $4 billion instead of $1.5 billion. And then your third movie would have made $3 to $4 to $5 to $6 billion instead of $1 billion. If you would have just kept them together, it was so fucking simple. And Hollywood and Disney found a way to fuck it up. It's the biggest fuck up in the history of entertainment, going back to when we were painting on the walls of caves. So I don't know where Hollywood and entertainment has earned anybody's hope when it comes to adapting something like this. Star Wars is a complex, well-built universe, but it's nowhere near as tight as Tolkien's Middle-earth. Not even close. Because you had a lot of other people building the Star Wars universe. That's why, you had Tolkien building his universe. Tolkien hated Disney. Smart man. And he also hates allegory. So where Disney is now is, we brought back Luke Skywalker for 5 minutes. Everything's okay now, right? And what are you going to do? This is your big dilemma. You're going to make a Luke Skywalker show, and are you going to recast him? And if you do, are you going to start from scratch? And I know people say they can't remake the original trilogies, and there's something contractual. Disney can do whatever the fuck Disney wants to do. Whether there's contracts, I don't know why Disney would buy Star Wars without the ability to remake the original trilogy. I can't buy that. Now, they might not be able to do it for a certain amount of time. I could buy that. But they're going to fucking do it. I promise you, they're going to fucking do it. And even if they can't, it's not like Disney's really big on honoring contracts. Just ask Alan Dean Foster. So, same goes for the Tolkien estate. I don't think they're going to stop Amazon from steamrolling this. And to anybody who doesn't think they'll remake the original trilogy, there was a lot of people who never thought that they would remake Star Trek, the original series, but they did. But the idea of recasting Captain Kirk and Spock and McCoy was laughable for years. It's not like we didn't discuss it as nerds. We did all the time. And you know what we said? Never happen. It'll never happen. And then it happened. So never say never. The Zardoz for $20. I get a tier. You get a tier. Everyone gets a tier except for those that watch these programs. Then we get to laugh at how bad these shows have become. Yeah, the big difference. Thank you, the Zardoz, for $20. Big difference between Star Trek Discovery this season and past is it didn't piss me off except for one scene. It was laughably bad. And when the retarded Kelpian killed the Federation, I haven't laughed that hard in years. I almost fell out of my chair. I told you, my son had to come in because he heard me from across the house howling with laughter. And I mean, it was like tears were coming out of my eyes. I could not believe it. And I tweeted about it and I messaged Az, and I'm like, I think it was in the middle of the night too. Sorry, Az. And I just could not believe it. And then I watched it again and I laughed just as hard. And it was good to laugh that hard at Star Trek. And then, you know, because it's a big joke. But there is a scene where Michael Burnham has to go down to Vulcan's no longer Vulcan, by the way. It's called Nevar. And there's a scene where they have to bring her down because she's Spock's sister. She's not fucking Spock's sister. She's a foster sister that lived with him for a little bit, and it didn't really exist because it's in this world. But they had some... she's in the future now, and she never bothered to check on her brother. So for the first time, she looks at some video, and they bring up Leonard effing Nimoy from Unification Part 2, one of my favorite all-time episodes. My favorite 2 episodes of TNG are Unification Parts 1 and 2. And because they have Leonard Nimoy in it, and I think they're fantastic episodes. And they were supposed to coincide, parallel Undiscovered Country, which they do. And they put the footage from that in this, and it just shows you what a mockery this is. I mean, they couldn't have been more different. They mentioned Picard's name, but you know, the more I see it right now in the chat, when I discuss Star Trek and Doctor Who now, all I hear is, I stopped watching it a long time ago. There are still these shows' defenders. I've never been able to hear a proper defense on merit. Okay, you like this show? How is it good? Give me a good, strong argument how I am wrong by calling this the worst written show in the history of television, because it is. And I'm willing to listen. But no, right now it's just laughs, Zardoz. No more tears, no more rage. Star Trek is gone. I've accepted it. Talking about Lucasfilm, don't you agree that with KK... I answered that one. Thank you. Hey, Gary, have you seen the latest video by Midnight's Edge? Looks like Discovery is... I read this one too. Likely been canceled. Let's hope that's the case. I hope so, but Michelle Paradise posted on the 11th that season 4 was in production. But they could pull the plug at any time. Listen, I have no explanation why they still make this show. There's no reason other than they don't want to cancel a show because they're worried about all the other shows. This is the only way I can rationalize it in my head. They have Strange New Worlds coming out. They have announced Section 31, although I don't think we're going to see that one because Michelle Yeoh's schedule. We have another animated show coming out. We got Lower Deck Season 2. Supposedly we're getting Picard Season 2. And if they cancel a Star Trek show without saying we finished it, they're going to think it looks bad for the brand, not knowing that their brand already looks bad. Red Letter Media videos are more viewed by far, and I mean by far, than your best, most watched episode of CBS Star Trek, which is some of the Picard stuff early on. Red Letter Media videos get more viewers, which is like 1 million, which isn't enough to pay for your $10 million an episode show on a streaming service that's bleeding subscribers. By the way, CBS counts cable subscribers now. If you have Cox Cable or Comcast, you can access CBS All Access for no extra charge. You are considered a subscriber to CBS All Access. The Zardoz Star Nerd. Doctor Who is about time travel. It doesn't have to be told in a linear fashion. Why not have a series following the Eighth Doctor, going back in time for a bit? Spend a year with Paul McGann's Doctor. KB Gaming for £10. I would like nothing more. Paul McGann is a great doctor. He's available. It would be immensely popular. And there's no reason you couldn't pluck some of the older doctors and do an animated adventure with like the Sixth Doctor, having him voice it. You could have Paul McGann and David Tennant come back for specials. You could have Matt Smith. You could do this all day long. The reason they don't do that is they don't want to take away or overshadow the new doctor. Well, if you pick the right doctor, that shouldn't be a problem ever. And they fucked over Capaldi, a Doctor Who fan, for Jodie. Despicable. You can tell that the BBC is getting nervous. Their new chairman's trying to justify the license, saying it's the least worst way of funding the BBC. That's his big sell, Star Nerd for five. It's the least worst way. Basically, lay back and enjoy it. No thanks. No British citizen needs the BBC anymore. Especially when the news failed them most because the news is not serving the entirety of the British public. They're serving the entirety of the elites in London, and that's it. And I got to see that firsthand. I was in the UK in 2003, and I walked through two protests while I was there. One was the anti-Iraq war protest, where I had shit thrown at me because I was wearing a Captain America shirt. And then there was the banning fox hunting protest, which was 5 times as bigger. It was 1 million people in London protesting the ban on fox hunting. Correct me if that's what I remember. That was insane. And it showed you the disconnect between the city dwellers and everybody else in the country. Something I was completely unaware of until I walked through the middle of it. And that has gotten worse. And that's what led to Brexit. Hey, Gary, check out Daniel Green's latest video. Gives me hope for both Lord of the Rings and Wheel of Time shows. Amazon needs them to succeed. Steve Marvin for $5. I will. I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic, and I'm going to point out similarities I see. They had Brian Cogman there. They've already said they're going to put nudity in Lord of the Rings. They've already said they're going to be very modern and diverse, and now they're going to structure the story just like they structured Game of Thrones. What else am I supposed to think? And how well did it work for Game of Thrones? So Dan and Dave for Game of Thrones had George R. R. Martin alive. They could have asked when they went past the source material, they had to start interpreting things. The problem with the Second Age is the story is told as a history. There's no character we follow through an adventure or anything. It's just presented as a history. So there is tons of blanks they can fill in. Well, they can't ask Tolkien or Christopher what Tolkien had in mind with certain things, so they're just going to make it up willy-nilly. I don't even think, I don't know if Tom Shippey is there or not, the Tolkien scholar. Well, Dan and Dave had George R. R. Martin, and they still fucked it up. So I've seen too many franchises get destroyed. Am I bitter about it? Yes, but I am willing to be very, very happy if I'm wrong. As a matter of fact, talking about George, I went to Not a Blog today. Big surprise. Wins and Winners not done. But was George complaining about the country, complaining about writing, talking about a wild cards book? Take a guess. All three. It was all three. He was talking about a wild cards book. He was complaining about the country, and he said writing is hard. But he didn't talk about the Winds of Winter. Could you imagine if Tolkien had a blog? I think Tolkien would be, he wouldn't be into football, but he'd be into like European football, right? So, like you see Tolkien like bitching about Arsenal, bitching about the country. I remind you all that Tolkien had a job while he was writing The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Now, it wasn't like working in the salt mines or anything. It was an academic, but he had a job while he was writing the Lord of the Rings by hand. By fucking hand. George has assistants that bring him his food, that wait on his every need, and he can't finish the book. Why? Because he's Tolkien's bitch. George is Tolkien's bitch. In production hopefully means writing script, nothing more, says Matt Bambados for £5. You could be right. Doug Jones did shave his head, but I don't know what the Koof situation is. You know, the person that keep an eye on and ask, and I should ask, is Script Doctor. He's up in Canada, and he is a script writer, and he is kind of tuned in to the entertainment industry up there, so he might know something. Unsafe Space Twitter's banned. Hope you're not next. The comic book lad for $2 Australian. I kind of want to get banned off Twitter. It sucks that Parler got taken down, or I probably would have already left. I do need notifications to go out because they're not going out. They're not going out. Still doing Exozone with DC tonight. Yes, I am, Chappie, for $5 at 7 p.m. Pacific time. DC just tweeted that he's not sure if you're coming on. No, I'm coming on. I've already confirmed it like 3 times. Gary, did you ever see the inside of Tehachapi? No. The inside of Tehachapi. You mean like, the prison? No, I was never inside Tehachapi. Chim 247 $4.99. I was in Donovan and Old Folsom. That's it. Andrew Knapp for $5. You're on Minds? Awesome. Gonna subscribe now. Yes, minds.com/nerdrotic. I'm there. Nathaniel Larson for $5. Have some money for better internet. Yeah, when I move, I'll have better internet. Yeah, it kind of sucked. It kind of fucked up the show today. Common Sense is SJW and leftist kryptonite. Rogue for $2. It is. That's how we disarm them. That's how we beat them. But we got to do it smarter. I know people are pissed at this platform. I've already had people saying that they're not going to support it, and they're saying goodbye to my channel, and that's your decision. I can't talk you out of it, and I don't blame you. I'm not fucking happy to be on YouTube, but I'm still here, and I'm going to try to be as effective as possible, and I will criticize them as much as possible. Mama Susan is an incompetent, ineffective CEO, but she's just a puppet for Google. That's all she is. I think she rented the garage to the guys who run Google. That's why she's a CEO now. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's actually true. But we can still do some good here. I had some people express concerns about talking to Star Wars Theory on a live stream. So I made no secret that I was critical of Star Wars Theory when he criticized members of the Fandom Menace, the individuals who use that hashtag. Those are individual fans. And through the dehumanization of people who use the hashtag, the Fandom Menace, it became very easy to criticize them, us, call us sexist, call us everything under the sun. And I criticized him heavily for that, for helping perpetuate that we're just haters. I'll repeat again. Look at my room. And I bet you a bunch of you out there have rooms like this. Maybe not as insane, but you have rooms like this. You got your comic books ever. Are we people that hate shit? Really? People who hate shit. And I'm sure they're out there. Yes, there is. I mean, there absolutely is YouTubers who talk about subject matter they know nothing about. That's fine. You can have an opinion on everything. I try to keep shit in my wheelhouse. But I was very upset when he perpetuated that the Fandom Menace was just a hate group. Now, he's never said anything to me. I don't even know if he knew I existed before, and I don't care. He and Jeremy had a beef, and they worked it out behind the scenes before they went on the live stream. When they worked things out behind the scenes, then I talked to Jeremy. Jeremy told me things have been worked out behind the scenes. That's their business, by the way. And that Jeremy was going to do a live stream with Drunk 3PO. And I'm like, great. And I think it was I don't know for sure, but I think Jay and Nicholas Glenn and Coach have been instrumental getting a lot of this stuff together in the background, which is very good. There are some people who want the fandoms to come together to maybe, I don't know, enact some change at Disney Star Wars, which I'm perfectly willing to do. But I still think there's some conversations that need to be had behind the scenes. They don't need to be had on a channel, on a live stream. I still have some questions from other channels who have gone out and perpetuated the lie that my good friend Doomcock is somebody called the Commandant, which he's not, by the way. And they know this, but they keep pushing this fucking lie to discredit Doomcock. If you want to like go after Doomcock's rumors or whatever, that's fine. Going after my friend, I've already had a pretty big meltdown about this before. Doesn't help anything. But what we did it was a week ago. I went on with Star Wars Theory on his channel, and we raised $38,000 for St. Jude's Hospital. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty fucking cool. So that's worth putting a little pride aside, putting some shit aside to raise 100% of it went towards St. Jude's. None of it went to Google. None of it went to us. It went straight to them. So that's what we were able to do. And that was me, Jeremy Drunk, Star Wars Theory, Mark Fernandez from Collider, who I still have issues with. And what else? We had one of Star Wars Theory's friends on. Tom came on. We tried to get Doomcock on. Robert Meyer Burnett was there. And we raised a lot of money for a good cause. But I still have issues that I would like to discuss on one of these live streams. I didn't think the charity live stream was the place, but if we're on another one, I will certainly bring it up. Most certainly. And I still have questions, but as far as, I'll talk to anybody, and anybody who's been critical of me in the past, they can be. I'm not above criticism. That's fine. Go ahead and make your videos. But I will tell you right now, for all the people who've made videos about me, which is just a few, it's not many. My DMs are always open. They could have contacted me anytime if they had a problem with me. If they had a problem with something I said or some news I reported, they could have talked to me directly. But they didn't. They decided to go on their channel and make a video. That's their right to do it. But anytime I have come close to wanting to talk to these people, they cut and run. Like some dust, which I'm willing to do at any time. Absolutely zero trust in Disney Lucasfilm, despite Favreau. And they have earned that, Storyman Jack, for $5. Absolutely earned that. Geek Dumb, and thank you for the $5. For $10, PSA, the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines utilized. Geek Dumb, I got to be very careful what I say. So, the companies that made a vaccine utilized some cells, we'll say, which don't have a ton of testing. Solo lost money, by the way. Picard is a pussy. So I don't want to edit your super chat. It's not something I have a desire to do, but I've got to be very careful what I say when it comes to this stuff. So they might have tested some of the vaccine on cell cultures from little babies. Little babies that aren't with us. And it doesn't have a ton of testing. Yeah, I don't really get into that here, Geekdom. I will just say that thank you for the $10, and I have no intention of putting that in my body. But it's going to probably restrict us. And I really don't want it going into my kid's body. I would rather take it first. If I am left with no choice, I would take it first before it goes into my kid's body, because I need to see a lot more testing. That's all. How is the Picard review coming? Keep up the good work, says Evan Gerhardt for $5. Well, after doing Star Trek Discovery, it's a month away, because I don't want to see a fucking second of Kurtzman Trek I was slowly losing my mind over those 10 days I was doing that video. Thank you for watching it, by the way. Thank you all for watching it and liking it and sharing it. I appreciate it. Because that's the video I've worked the hardest on. I think my California video was the longest. It took me 8 days to record that one. This one took me 9 days. That is way too long. For me, it's King Theoden giving a speech at Pelennor Fields. Oh my God, yes. Gets me every time. Also, the dude with the axe in the charge. Yes. Huron the Steadfast for $5. I love King Theoden has great speeches that really reflect on our times. The days have gone down in the West. Yes, they have. All the Theolinga screaming death. That's fucking awesome. It's so awesome. Mark C for $10. On January 10th, pinup queen and B-movie actress Julia Strain died at 58 years old. 35 years ago, she suffered a brain injury from a horse riding accident that brought about the early onset of dementia. Wow. Well, that makes me concerned, Mark C, because in the 2 weeks before I moved to San Francisco, I was playing a softball game here. And by the way, may she rest in peace, Julie Strain. Thank you, Mark C, for the $10. I was playing a softball game here in Escondido, across the street from the auto park. And I was rounding third on my way home. And the third baseman threw the ball right at my head, knocked me out cold. But I was able to pass out on the plate, so I still scored. I wasn't that far from him. I was like 15 feet away, and he gunned it like he was Nolan Ryan, and it just plucked me right here. My glasses went flying. I went out. I woke up, and the fucking umpire wants me to sign an NDA. I got a piece of paper in my face. I fucking got the guy out of my face. I couldn't even, my head was so swollen, I couldn't put my glasses on. I never properly got it checked, but I was concussed. I lost consciousness. And I still get a little pain every now, and that makes me think I should probably take a look at that, but it's way too late because that was 2 decades ago. An Air Fallen for $5. Hear what happened to Tim Pool. He is getting a Alex Jones treatment. Yes, on Facebook. He was banned on. Why? What does Tim Pool do? He brings on Alex Jones, but it's not like he doesn't try his very hardest to be neutral. So Tim Pool is harmless. That's bad. That's bad. Then it is a matter of time till they come for those of us who are fucking criticizing pop culture. It's only a matter of time. So yeah, plan B. Son of the Wolf for $10. I lost interest in superhero movies, which is sad. I used to love them, but they're so formulaic now, and the CGI laden garbage. And Evans being a turd doesn't help that. No, it doesn't. And Son of a Wolf, you're right. The ending of Endgame was a sloppy mess. It looked terrible. And I loved the movie when I walked out of it. I did. And each time I watched it again, I liked it even less. Not Another Dime. Thank you for the thumbs up for $1.99. Wolfsbane for $4.99. I miss good storytelling. I bought the complete series of Samurai Jack, which is fucking awesome, and fell in love with it all over again. Hail, by the way. Hope you're all having a great day. Watch Primal. Wolfsbane, you probably did. Best show on TV right now. Project Piper Customs for £5. Chris Evans tweeted not having any idea about the news. Is he playing it down, or is the media clickbait? The media is kind of desperate right now, so I wouldn't put it past him at all. I like, there's money in clicks, and that incentivizes people, all right, to be scoopers. And I want to talk about scoopers or basically how I do things here. So because I am friends with channels, and they have every right to do this stuff, and I do not judge them, and I support Doomcock and any other channel like Clownfish that wants to run with rumors. I've done it too. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as you state definitively that it is a rumor, that you are not reporting news, and you don't give people the impression that this is a fact, because it's not. If you do that, it's absolutely fine. But because I'm friends with these channels, my name and my channel gets conflated with quite often, frankly, with the Disney erasing the Disney trilogy, which I have stated repeatedly I don't think they're going to do, but I hope they do. I hope they do. And I hope I'm wrong about that. Yeah. So as far as sites like Variety doing clickbait shit, sure, they're desperate. They need money, and there's money in this stuff. There is tons of money in this stuff. As far as being a scooper, I don't want to ever be a scooper. That's not what I want this channel to ever be. It took me a long time to run with my Doctor Who rumors. Both my Doctor Who rumors I knew for months before I talked about them, until I felt like really okay with talking about them. And that's from somebody I absolutely knew, like not from an anonymous person online. Now, early on, I ran with rumors pretty freely, and some of them were right, some of them were wrong. And I'm like, I don't want my channel to be about that, because then you have to start chasing that shit. And I have no desire to be a scooper and outscoop other people and get mentioned. And you know what? I want to do this on me, on my merit. I'll just tell you what I think of what has already happened. And hopefully you guys continue to like it. But I wouldn't put it past the Access Media to get a little desperate, because they are desperate. Electronic media is suffering right now. DGMC for $5. Hey, Gary, first-time viewer, welcome. As I first became aware of you from your interview with Kurt Metzger. Oh, no shit. Right on. Your thoughts on Punisher's current predicament. That they're going to cancel the Punisher. There are some at Marvel who've wanted to cancel the Punisher from the get-go. It's not, you could still write Punisher books, but Marvel doesn't have the desire. If I was Marvel, I'd sell the character. You can get money for it if you're not going to produce it, not sit on it. I think I would still read Punisher books. This is why this is why these big corporations buying up all these characters is eventually it's going to run its course. They're going to burn these characters out. And that's why we're probably going to have a new independent movement, because right now, if you want to read a good old sword and sorcery, sandals and swords story, you're going to have to go into the independent sphere to see that story. Nobody in publishing is going to produce something like that. Nothing like Conan. If you want to read a story like Conan, you're going to have to find an independent comic company, or you're going to have to write that story yourself. I want to read shit like that. I do. But they're too afraid to make it. And if they do make it, if it's Disney or whatever, they water it down. They water down the toxic masculinity. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity to write your own shit, because you're this entity that you usually could not compete with because they can out fucking spend you is actually handcuffing themselves. Like, they're leaving it wide open for you to fill that void creatively, and they're not even gonna compete with you. So now's the time. At least Chris Evans doesn't eat people like Army Hammer. I love your channel. Thank Elizabeth Lyons for $20. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. And that's true. Army Hammer is, he's part of the elite. He's, I think the grandson of a billionaire, or a relative of he's from $1 billion family. So I'm not surprised that's some Moloch child sacrificing shit. They're into some weird shit. Rich people who have their every need met from day one are into some weird shit. Human beings aren't made to have their every need met from day one. They're just not. The Invisible Man for $5. Creatives burn entertainment. I'm at peace knowing that they can't take my classic media. My daughter just discovered Scooby and Batman 66, which is awesome. Let it all burn. Yeah. I think that's the one thing that's happened the most, is a lot of people have been digging back in their old collections, watching old shows. The most watched streaming shows are by far older shows, like Friends, sitcoms. That's what everybody's watching. Jeff Thomas for $9.99. Let's be real. SJWs are basically Scientologists with less money and access to Twitter. Good point about perception. Cheers, man. Good luck with the move, brother. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Daniel Morgan for $5. Hey, buddy, did you hear that they finally picked Admiral Thrawn? They picked Lars Mikkelsen to pay on the big screen. Well, didn't he already? Oh, Lars Mikkelsen, not his brother. Or should I say the small screen? Yeah. Did they pick him for sure? I think that's probably a good pick. That's good. That's good. See, if we're not talking about Pablo Hidalgo attacking Star Wars fans, we're talking about casting. That's good. Now they have to make it good. So my biggest criticism of The Mandalorian is not very complex storytelling. And that's what I need. That's what I'm going to need to even possibly get invested. I also need Disney not to attack fans. I would like an apology to the entire fandom. I'd also like to see Kathleen Kennedy and Pablo Hidalgo get fired. Commodore Stargazer for $2. By the power of Grayskull. I have the power. He-Man. Mary Ashmead for $20. Thank you, Gary, for being such a good friend. Love being here on your channel. Did you guys figure out what happened to my wrench? Let me know. Thank you. Love you. Wrench and situations like that. Thank you, Mary, for the $20 are handled behind the scenes. They are handled behind the scenes, Mary, but I'll get to you on it. Thank you for the $20. Andre Fernandez for 50 Argentinian pesos, or is it Czechoslovakian? What's an ARS? Can't wait to see female Sauron, the Lord of the Gifts. Haha, a stunning and brave queen of Numenor. Why not? Oh, Andre, I'm gonna talk about it in my video, but yes, for one, I believe there eventually was a female ruler. I don't know if it was Numenor. I think it was the Numenorians who moved to the west, who eventually, because a female could not rule on Numenor. Only men could rule. It was a patriarchy. In Lord of the Rings, there's a scene between Faramir and Frodo and Sam that you don't see in the movie, where Sam is calling out Faramir for bullshitting Frodo because he knew that Boromir was dead. And Faramir says, be quiet. You do not have, basically he says, you're not as smart as your master. Shut up. It's so good. But they can't put that shit in the story now. No, women could not rule in Numenor as far as I know for a while. And I think they changed it for one particular character, and I can't remember her name. It's, I don't know if it's in the Silmarillion or if it's in Unfinished Tales, but it's in one of those things. I'm not very well versed in the Silmarillion. I'll admit it's something I have just re-embarked on again. Now, by the time the show comes out, probably by the end of the year, I'll know it up and down. A stunning and brave queen of Numenor. Lord of the Rings sounds awful. Can't we just have more of The Expanse? I'd be happy with that. Trioxin 245 for $4.99. Expanse, best show on television. Best show on television. Loved the fact that Critical Drinker made a video on that. It's good to see it finally get some love. As you may or may not know, it's a show I've been talking about on this channel for 3 years. Unfortunately, it's ending. It's ending. Thank you for the farting dog. The dog is farting hearts. Mary Ashmead, thank you for the $2. Oscar Meyer for $2. I grok. You grok? Yes, you rock too. Oscar Meyer for $2. Thank you. Tiggy, who is a member. Welcome to the Jaloja level. I appreciate it. Andre Fernandez for 50 Argentinian dollars. Remember Westworld? Oh, they fracked up the one of the best shows I've ever seen. Changed the Hopkins Harris for whammon plank of wood. Yes, Queen. Yes. Andre Fernandez. Westworld season 1 was genius. Absolute, utter genius. I was singing the praises of the show. I called it the heir to Game of Thrones. I thought it was going to be a massive hit. And if they would have stayed the course, it would have been. But then Harvey Weinstein happened. Me Too happened. Time's Up happened. Time's Up, the organization, which ended up being a fucking fraud, which was co-founded by Jar Jar Abrams' wife, which produces Westworld, fucked that show up 6 ways from Sunday. Now, I still own and watch Westworld season 1. I just pretend the rest of it doesn't happen. It's a giant fucking train wreck. And people from Westworld work on Lord of the Rings. Just so you know. Alpha Omega Records for £5. Gary, I hope you got my email and understood. I did. Fan forever. Oh, and goodbye, Jody. You were grizz. She sucked. And no, Alpha Omega, love you, man. And please reach out. Take care of yourself. You have a ton of people in this group that will happily talk to you. We got a great group of people here. Very supportive. Max 15 for £10. Thank you for the super sticker, my friend. Alpha Omega Records for £5. Non-binary Santarans and more. That's right. It's no longer who, so let them effing annihilate it while we laugh. All I need to do is look at my DVDs and Blu-rays and smile. Yep, I have my international Blu-ray player right there. Currently, it has Blake 7 in it, but it's going to have some Doctor Who. God damn this fucking stream. I'm so sorry, folks. I am sorry this has been a janky stream. And thank you. I can't believe that 2,800 of you hung on during this janky stream. Now, I am recording this, so if you want to watch a cleaner version, it will be uploaded on Nerdrotic Live later. Yes, there's going to be a Friday Night Tights tomorrow at 2 with Yellow Flash. The Nerdrotic Nooner will be back next week, starting Monday and Wednesday, and it will be at the same time. Now, give me a while, okay? But I'll try to get the start times within 10 or 15 minutes, and then eventually we're going to start on time. Progress, not perfection, but I am announcing that right now. Every Monday and Wednesday, you are going to get a Nerdrotic Nooner, and occasionally on a Tuesday as well. My hope was to one day make this a week, like a daily show, and I might do it, but that means I need a lot more help, and that is coming up. By the way, I'll announce that at the end of the live stream. Finn Barhouli for $5. You should brush up on the Silmarillion and cover every scene that Amazon releases and let people know what the real story is. Finbar, I'm all over it. All over it. And yes, they are going to okay. So the Lord of the Rings series is going to be 5 seasons, 8 to 10 episodes, and it's going to lead to the War of the Ring, where Sauron fell. But it's going to cover thousands of years. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a cast of dwarves and Numenorians and there will be no hobbits. There is no Astari. There's no wizards. Gandalf was around in the Second Age, but it wasn't acknowledged. He was there in disguise, hanging out, influencing. I don't even know if he was really corporeal. I don't know. I'm trying to think. He spent some time with the elves. I believe it was in the Second Age, but the wizards don't arrive until the Third Age. Okay. So everything you're familiar with isn't really going to be there. It's going to be a lot of politicking elves, men, dwarves. They're going to bring in some other lands that we have never seen. And there's going to be gay elves. Gay elves. Just for the record, I don't want any sex or relationships at all. That's not what I go to Lord of the Rings to see, but you're going to have that in a drama. And we'll see if this fits into Tolkien's world. This is supposed to fit right up with Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. I highly doubt that, but we'll see. Considering they have, I believe the Weta Workshop is working on some stuff, but not on all stuff. Is it possible that STD is still being made in a ploy to have enough episodes to package for second run syndication? You would think that, but second run syndication doesn't really work anymore. Human Kirk. I think it's being made for content for a streaming service. That's it. They're well into their project, and I think CBS is still hoping it'll catch on. But here's the deal. It never will. So I think CBS is happy with it being like CW's Supergirl or CW's Batwoman. It's got an audience of a few 100,000 people who watch it. I guess they're just happy with that. They're idiots. I mean, Hollywood is run primarily by idiots who just happen, because it's run by business people now. who know nothing about entertainment, nothing about fandom. And that should be evident every day they produce something. I mean, even Marvel, which is looked at as the gold standard right now, go look at all their costumes. They started out pretty good. Hulk looked like the Hulk. Iron Man looked like Iron Man. Cap mostly looked like Cap, but fucking Hawkeye doesn't look anything like Hawkeye. Ant-Man, sure, the helmet, but everybody else is wearing like motorcycle shit. It looks terrible. DC has done a far better job, except for the fucking Flash costume, which looked like shit. But they've done better job with their costumes for the most part. Thank you, Human Kirk. Roger Haynes for 10 Canadian pesos. Do you think it would make any difference if Star Trek went back to syndication model of 20 episodes a season with a lower budget and they were forced to get creative and focus on better writing? Roger, yes. That's what Star Trek is. I think it would be, if you got the right person, it would be a phenomenal hit. Give them less money and more episodes and force them to write. The writing staff for Star Trek is a joke. And guess what? It's mostly female. All right, so that's a first. Read some Brandon Sanderson. Shadversity approved. If Shadversity approves, then I will read it. Bogey 780 for $2. I want to get Shad. I talked to Shadversity for the first time on EFAP, and that was fucking awesome. So I want to get him on the show because I think he is great. Jerry Vargas for $1.99. What up? Yeah, I want to get him on Friday Night Tights, or, if anything, on a stream where we can talk about fantasy. Hiram, thank you for the $2. Get on Gab. Gab is a shit show. I mean, it didn't even load for me. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll just start an account on fucking Signal and Gab everywhere, and we'll see which one catches on. But right now I'm on Minds. I liked Parler. I did. I think it was going places. Plus, I got like 12,000 followers. I don't even have 1,000 on Minds. And that's fine. Thank you for anybody who has. But question for both you and your wife, since she watches The Expanse and Yellowstone. Who would win in a fight? Amos of The Expanse or Rip of Yellowstone? Amos. It'd be a good fight, though. Black Tiger 001. Get your backup plans ready, Gary. Lots of monkey business on sites this recently. Yes, Dan C. for £5. I noticed. 0 notifications went out for this stream. 0. If you got one, thanks. You're one of the very few. Jim Bob Wee for $5. Tried to click the bell. YouTube won't let me. It said your content is made for children. Holy shit. Wait a minute. Okay. Now I am screen printing this. That's the second time that's happened with the live stream. Hang on. Just to show you guys. That is clicked definitively, isn't it? So YouTube is fucking with channels again. And this was happening during the election. And right before Christmas, YouTube flipped the switch back to normal YouTube and people started getting subs and things started working. It's been pretty good since then, but over the weekend back when the Capitol stuff happened, they put that throttle back on and things have been wacky ever since. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for trying to subscribe. But that is definitively not made for kids. Thank you though, for letting me know. And I'm going to pass that around. It's a glitch. Jim Bob Wee, it's a glitch. Mike Kennedy for $1.99. It's odd. I'm lefty, but not an SJW. Yeah. SJW is not, it's okay. All SJWs are on a portion of the left, but Mike, you're not, an SJW if you're willing to listen to the other side, if you are for free speech. I mean, that's not a left-right issue. Everybody should be for free speech and free expression. If you're not for those things, then I don't know, you're a commie? SJWs are closer to commie. You can be on the left and not be a commie. Everybody's welcome here. We talk about nerd shit. But when it comes to freedom of expression, basic human fucking rights, you know what? You might not like the orange man. He has every right to speak his mind. What they did was overreaching. I watched everything go down. I saw what happened. I understood what happened. And that happened because of people who were there. Regarding the time it takes for the longer videos, to quote a longman mauler when asked when videos will come out soon, TM. Bear Business One for $5. Yes. Those videos take a ton of time. It's not like the Lord of the Rings one took me like an hour. So geek dumb. And thanks, Bear Business One. Good seeing you. Gary, you are stranded on an island. You only have one companion, Michael Burnham or Brie Larson. How come? Oh. Wait, okay, Michael Burnham and Brie Larson, or Michael Burnham and Carol Danvers, or Sonequa Martin Green and Brie Larson? So Sonequa Martin Green, when she doesn't have her stupid SJW Eraserhead haircut, she's hot. She's hot. Brie Larson, I feel like I want to give her a juice box and give her a ride to soccer practice. I have no attraction to Brie Larson whatsoever. She's a little girl. I would rather live alone. Can I have a volleyball? I'd rather live with Wilson. Because both of them would annoy me to death. The Tweaky Kid for $4.99. After seeing Az's review, I might actually check out Batwoman for shiggles, but I'll cleanse the mental palate with The Expanse and my 4K Lord of the Rings. Yes, there you go. There you go. Did Az get to see it? It's not out till Sunday. Just to let you know, Sunday, The Inquisition will be on Doomcock's channel next Sunday, and we're going to review Batwoman. And then I am reviewing Batwoman. I am going to review Batwoman. I am jumping in. I reviewed 5 or 6 episodes last year and couldn't hang past that. We'll see if I make it this year. But I'm going to go back to reviewing Batwoman. I actually did read the comic book. I did. But now it's way off comic book, so I don't know. Critical Ramblings for $5. I was the only member of my family to walk out of The Last Jedi and Endgame feeling depressed and despondent. Weird times. Yeah, Endgame is bad. It's really bad. And The Last Jedi is one of the worst movies ever made. But Critical Rambling, it's hypnosis. It affected me too. I am not going to be as hubris as to say I am immune to hypnosis. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm a fan. You can get me with hypnosis. I mean, there was part of the Lord of the Rings news yesterday I got excited about, but I need to be cautious. Sassy Marie, thank you for the $1.49 phallic unicorns. I appreciate it. Stetson's Gold. Oh boy, it keeps jumping on me. Sorry, dude, I boomered it on the members stream, LOL. Oh, it's okay. I'm glad you were there. It was nice to see you there. At least you were there. Bogey 780 for $2. They Live came out in 4K this week. Consume, obey. Oh, dude, I got to buy that. It did? I got to get that. Finbar Hooley for $5. Tar Anklamine becomes the first queen and 7th ruler of Numenor in 1075, and Tar Teprlin becomes the 2nd queen and the 10th ruler of Numenor in 1566. Gotcha. Okay, and that's prior to the fall, obviously, because it wasn't around. There you go. So there was a female ruler, but before it was Tar, I can't pronounce her name, Akalim, there was no female rulers. Thanks for saving me time and money. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you, Danger UXO, for $20. I appreciate it. And you are quite welcome. I appreciated it. It was, I was just happy to get the review out, and I'm glad people are watching it. because I wasn't sure people were going to watch it. So for those that haven't go back and read Ursula Le Guin's Earthsea Quartet, a quick flick read that'll bring you more joy than modern guff. And that's from Brett Cohen, and it's called Le Guin's Earthsea Quartet. There you go. Sir Sedevry for $5. Antarctic Press is a great comic company. Would recommend anything from Fred Perry, especially Gold Digger. Oh, I'm well aware of Gold Digger. I sold lots of Gold Digger. Not happy with Antarctic Press because they bent the knee to Mark Waid. Oh, I was just looking for my books. What I have been reading, Brett, is Target Doctor Who novels. They're very quick reads. And I've also been reading some Conan, some Robert E. Howard Conan. Little books about this thick. You buzz right through them. I got to get a magnifying glass out because I'm blind as hell. They have renamed it to Doctor Who. It's now Doctor, it's a pronoun. So you can say Dr. What, Dr. Why, Doctor Who. Thank you, Dan C, for £5. Alpha Omega Records for $5. I'm in Hampstead, London, SJW hell. I'm not terribly popular as a Brexiter, but fuck it. We're free. Wishing lots of love and luck to America. Yeah, America needs it right now. America needs it, but things will get better, okay? Sometimes you lose, okay? You got to take the L. You got to take it with dignity, and you got to make sure you're around to fight to go win again. Spurging out and burning everything down when you take the L is what fucking the rioters did over the summer. Let's not forget what they did. I will never forget what they did. That is the primary reason I'm leaving California. The primary reason I'm leaving California, besides my wife's business being shut down, was politicians did nothing as small businesses burned. And then politicians decimated the small business that was left. So the only action I can take, because I will never vote people out in California, is to defund them, is to take my tax money away from them, because I cannot fund assholes like this anymore. I don't care what fucking party they are. I really don't. I just know I live here. Small business has been decimated, and I don't think it'll be able to come back in this state. But other states are doing great, so that's where I'm going to go. Harry Mills for $20. Thank you for the $20. I appreciate it. I mean, California can fall into the fracking ocean at this point. I don't care. Tracy Will, thank you for the $20, Harry Mills. Lord of the Rings, Feelings in Hallways and Crying. Tracy, there's going to be lots of drama. I mean, how do you feel about a Lord of the Rings with political backstabbing, like a House of Cards, Game of Thrones, early on Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings? Shad has his own book, Shadow of the Conqueror, brilliant fantasy novel, and just started his second channel, Game Night. Oh, cool. Shadversity's awesome. That's a great channel. Go check it out if you haven't. We absolutely agreed on Game of Thrones. That's where I first heard of him. He had some great Game of Thrones videos. Pinion for 2 Canadian pesos. Matt Smith as Thrawn. He looks like him. Good show. That would be good, but Matt Smith is going to be in House of the Dragon. Probably playing a Targaryen. That's interesting. I think Matt Smith, once time goes on, will be more appreciated as a great doctor. And he was a great doctor, not just a good doctor. He was a great doctor. He didn't always have the best writing, but Matt Smith was awesome. Comrade Care Bear for $4.99. What kind of relationship do you think George Lucas and Kathleen Kennedy currently have with each other, if any? Purely business. Purely business. I would say that friendship has taken a beating. Listen, George made an emotional decision when he sold Star Wars. It wasn't a business decision. It was an emotional decision. It wasn't anything he ever needed to do, but he did it. And I think he probably had the best intentions at heart. He probably thought, like, I can't make this. I think people still want it. And listen, Disney, sounded like a great idea. Sounded like a perfect fit. Kathleen Kennedy coming aboard, I thought it was great. I'm like, this is fucking going to be awesome, man. This is going to be really good. And it wasn't. The thing is, though, we are now well into it not being good, and they're having to resurrect Star Wars because they fucked up. Think about it. Disney fucked up Star Wars. That's like, yeah, there's not an analogy I can't make. It's like fucking up a good lay. That's what it is. Crazy Cat Guy, thank you for the $1.49. Brendan Lucas for $5. Why is Chibnall so cagey? Moffat would be interviewed after every episode and be very expressive. Russell T. Davies even wrote books about his decisions. Yeah, Chibnall is cagey. He's antisocial. And yeah, I just think he's antisocial, and he's also, it's probably the BBC who doesn't, because there is interviews with him. He doesn't interview very well. He doesn't come across as very personable, very smart. Yeah, I don't know how he gets the fucking job, to be honest with you. He's the worst fucking Doctor Who writer. None of his episodes were ever any good, ever. I don't know how he got the gig. Found your channel through The Drinker. Oh, that is awesome, Jeffrey Shaw. Thank you for the $5. Very happy the algorithm hasn't turned you into Mary Sue. Love the content. Jeffrey, thank you. And you know, one of The Drinker's viewers coming over here and staying on, that is an honor. That is an honor. The Drinker and Mahler are two of the best YouTubers alive. Period. I will never, ever be as good as The Drinker, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I don't need to be. I'm happy with being me. Sounds like it is time for nerdrotic.com. Where can we where you can do whatever you want? Or maybe you should start a channel with Doomcock. Well, nerdrotic.com is the solution. Elite Spanker for $5. I have the ability to turn on subscriptions on that website. I'm about to do it. It'll be probably just a flat fee thing, and I got to figure out, but I need to, there's been a big change over the last 2 weeks. It's going to take time to adjust it. I am looking to bring on some more help. And that once that process is done and we compartmentalize it, I'll be free to just make content. Then we can go to nerdrotic.com, and that will be the replacement for Patreon, which I have shut down. Patreon is done. I am done with Patreon as a company. I didn't like them when they got rid of Sargon, and I really didn't like them when one of the board members threatened to take anybody who supported capitalism out to be shot. Yeah, I wasn't really down with that. Subscribestar is still up. I don't put any content up there because shutting it down is extremely difficult. So I'm going to keep it up and just reduce everything down to like $1 or something. And then we'll figure out something to do. But yeah, the Subscribestar is like, remember when you had to try to get rid of AOL from your computer and it was just impossible back in the days? Subscribestar, you can't just fucking quit Subscribestar. It's crazy. Shark King Gaming for $10. Now that you're on to writing Black Panther 2 after Chadwick passes. This is bullshit. Be prepared for a woke Wakanda takeover. The first movie was everyone, also featuring T'Challa and his own yeah, no. Black Panther was all about the women. It wasn't about T'Challa. So who's going to replace Chadwick Boseman? Are they going to recast him? Or are they going to do the Shuri woman Black Panther? I mean, she's not fighting anybody. She weighs like 90 pounds soaking wet. Yeah. I mean, it sucks what happened to Chadwick. I had no idea he was sick. I thought he was getting skinny for a role. I felt pretty bad about that. That sucks what happened to the guy. But no, I'm not excited about Black Panther. And I thought he was a good T'Challa, and he was great in Civil War. I've argued that we simply need a resurgence of classical liberalism. Liberty is always better than safety, and modern woke liberal has forgotten this tenet. Never compromise on speech. Never, ever, ever. It's bad enough I have to talk in a code here. But when it comes to speech out loud in the public forum, that's a problem. You're right, Jeff. Classic liberalism. Well, I mean, you're seeing a shift right now. The Democratic Party used to be the bigger tent. The bigger tent is now going to be the right. Now, I am not a member of the right. I am not a conservative person. I probably lean more right on like financial shit. I hate taxes. I'm very close to being a libertarian, very close, but I'm mostly just independent. Or the nice part of anarchism, which is I'm just going to do what I want. The nonviolent part of anarchism, which is I just want to do what I want. I promise I won't tell people what to do. Smooth Jam California for £5. Chris Evans coming back. Who cares? He is always mediocre anyway. Everyone just pretends he was a great Cap because his films were good. Yep, you're right. And he's got a second part of that. I'd rather they just recast Cap. There's plenty of other actors out there that would completely outshine Evans in the role. He's no Robert Downey Jr. No, he played a stoic character. It's not that hard. And he was pretty. Give them 2 episodes. On the 3rd, we ride for Gondor and war. That's right. That's what I will. It'll be 2 episodes. Critical Rambling. And I will walk through the paths of the dead to get there. Gary Gruesome is putting $1.5 billion aside to get rid of gas-powered cars by 2024. I can't believe the gall of this guy. Gruesome. He said Gary Gruesome. So Newsom is putting, we're going to get rid of gas cars in fucking 2 years. Fuck this guy. Fuck off. Is he going to buy me a car? I'm going to buy 2 FJ Cruisers now. Rob Atlas, thank you. Phobioke 1000, welcome, or 100, welcome to the proto-molecule level. I appreciate it. Hail. All right. James Zerbisky for $7.99 Australian. I'd love to know George Lucas's honest opinion on what Kathleen Kennedy has done with Star Wars if he wasn't contractually handcuffed from doing so. I'd love to know too. God damn. Did I just glitch out again? Here, I'm going to finish the super chats and I got to bail. That sucks. Just lost 1,000 viewers. Holy shit. Boom. Gone. Yeah, this is terrible. Thanks for hanging in. I'm sorry it's been so many problems with the internet. Don't always agree with you, but great STD review. Set this Von Werstein for $2. You don't always have to agree with me. We can all agree that Star Trek Discovery sucks and we want good Star Trek. We all want good Star Trek. We can agree on that, right, Sethis? I appreciate the $2. Texas leaving the Union in 2 years. Move quick. Pinion, if it does, I'm there. Thank you for the £2. I'd love to know George. I'd love to know George Lucas' honest opinion on Kathleen Kennedy as done with Star Wars if he wasn't contractually handcuffed from doing so. I would, oh my God, I would pay good money for that. James Zabersky for $7.99, but I think we've gotten it. Arcane Joe for £10. Hail, Gary, been listening to the Phantom Menace vids since Star Trek Discovery. Point of light. Anyone who doesn't know that episode name is a lucky bastard. Exactly. Keep making the great content and stay safe. Thank you, Arcane. I appreciate you. Oberon for $5. Az's page doesn't let me push the notification button. Says the notification is turned off for adult content made for kids. Tip to Exozone. The Terra Mar Project. Thank you. And I will let Az know. Where's my phone? Where'd it go? I will let Az know. Hang on. I'm going to take a picture of that. There we go. And I'm going to send that to him right now. Az, if you're watching, you're going to get a picture. Somebody said they tried to subscribe to your channel and sec. Okay. So I sent him the picture. So now he knows that people cannot subscribe to his channel. Thank you very much. Just a tip. Next says Max Relax for £5. What's the tip? Next? Is it the next tip? Maybe. Thank you for the £5. George and dairy for $5 Australian. Will you watch Run, Hide, Fight? Is it good? Is it good? Yeah. Yeah, that's the Ben Shapiro backed movie. I'll watch it. Yeah. I'll support independent. I'll support Ben. Yeah, I will watch it. Gary, have you read, thank you for I didn't even know what it was called, George, so thanks. Rebecca Gold, what's up, Ian, for 10 pounds. Gary, have you read Marvels by Kurt Busiek? If I read Marvels by Kurt Busiek. You mean this? Yeah, I've read it. A few hundred times. Kevin Feige should be making that into a movie instead of what they have planned. Thoughts? Have a good one, mate. Marvels is one of the best primers for people who are not into comics and want, it's like, I've never read a comic, but I just watched an MCU movie. What should I read? Marvels. And I have this poster, by the way, of this, which is awesome. I'm so tired of Marvel now, though. So tired of it. Yeah. DC should just adapt Justice. Alex Ross's Justice. I thought that was fucking awesome. And then Kingdom Come eventually. Thanks, Ian. TLC Creations for $2. Thank you for the super sticker. Does that say GG? Is that like a Gamergate super sticker? Also, I agree with you on Endgame. It was a terrible film. By far the worst MCU movie for me. Yes, even worse than Captain Marvel. Biggest letdown ever. Says Smooth Jam California for £5. It wasn't bad. Captain Marvel sucked. But it had Captain Marvel in it, and that gave her this huge moment that did suck. And the fucking A4 scene sucked. It was stupid. Thank you, Smooth Jam. Jane Theory for $5. What's up, Jane? She with the beautiful internet voice. And I mean, I don't know, I haven't seen you. All I've seen is your avatar, but your voice is great. It's great. Should be doing voiceover work and stuff. All right. Well, I mean, this has been fucking shitty. You guys were great, but the connection has been shit. My viewer counts have been going, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I think there's something glitchy going on with YouTube right now. Or with my channel. I'm not sure, but I really want to thank you guys for hanging in there and listen to me ramble. If I missed a super chat, I'll make it up. I do super chat square ups. There'll be one tomorrow morning coming out. I'm going to be on Doomcock's channel in 2 hours. 2 hours, go over to the Harvey Zone, which is Doomcock's alternate channel. If you can't find, all you have to do is search it in YouTube, but all you have to do is go to his channel and he's got it in there. I'll be there at 7 o'clock. We're going to be doing the Exo Zone. We're going to be talking about some woo. I fucking can't wait to be talking about some woo. Got a Lord of the Rings video coming out in the morning. It's just my thoughts on the synopsis. And, you heard a little bit of it today. If you would keep an eye out for that, I would appreciate it because I'm not sure if notifications are going out again. To everyone who takes a moment to watch my live streams, who donates through a super chat, who shares a video, who tells my channel or tells a friend about my channel. I thank you all. I am eternally grateful. You have given me the best fucking job in the world. I love every minute of this. I hate the times we're living in right now. And, we've been through some shit, my family, along with the rest of the country and rest of you. And we've lost people, but we found each other and we have each other. And as long as we have each other, we have a chance. So no black pills, no black pills. We don't have time for fucking black pills. Our kids don't have time for black pills. They need us to stand up. They need us to fight, and we need to do it smart. And we need to get bigger. We need to get more people on the side of common sense. And I don't know how you do that other than use common sense as much as you can. Also, if you can, rely less on Amazon. Jeff Bezos has enough of our money. Yes, he made it very convenient. Yes, it was awesome. Yes, you can get stuff the same day. I know it's tough. It's tough. But whenever you can, maybe take a little ride to a shop That's what I do. And you get to talk to somebody. You get to interact with another human being. Or just find another online place. Or go to eBay. Go on an eBay store and help, some guy or gal out. That's, I don't know. Not telling you what to do, but that's what I'm trying to do. So thanks, everyone. See you on Friday Night Tights tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific time with Yellow Flash. I believe the week after that, we have Mahler and Rags. We got Eric July coming up, Robot Head, and more. So thanks to the Nerdrotics, Eric K., Chris Persia, Nyla Shadow, Jennifer Sisko, Just Another Red Shirt, Lord Thoth. If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. And thanks again for everyone who donated with Super Chat. You help keep the lights on. Not all the... Oh my God, I just messed up my final line. What the fuck? Not all who wander are lost. And may the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Nerdrotic.com.